Hi, so my name is Gordon and I wanted to do a little introduction here of how to use my application RomVault. RomVault.com is where I'm going to start here, and I'm going to download it right from the beginning and walk you through how to set up RomVault and then how to use it to manage some ROM sets. So we're going to start by just going to www.romvault.com, and I'm going to start by just downloading the full directory version here. So I'm just going to save this onto a spare drive I have. Okay, so I've downloaded RomVault here. Let's look in here real quick. There's really just the one program file that you need. This is a .NET 2.0 application, so as long as you have that installed on your machine, it should just work. So I'm going to set this directory structure up by hand here to get this going. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm just going to make a directory called RomVault, and I'm going to copy into it the RomVault application. Then to get RomVault going, you need three more directories. The first one is called dat root. This is where you're going to put all your actual dat files, and there's going to be a big directory structure formed in here, storing all of your dat files using the same directory structure as you actually want your ROMs to be stored. And the ROMs will get stored in the ROM root directory. And then we need one more. It's kind of like a temp directory, but I call it to sort. That's just where ROMs are going to go that you want RomVault to sort out for you. So that's enough just to get RomVault to start running here. And obviously it's not going to do anything at all yet because it does not have any DATs. Now I'm going to assume at this point you know what a ROM is, you know what a DAT is, you know how to actually then use your ROMs in your emulator. I'm going to assume that part right now. So let's start by saying we want to collect the MAME DATs. We want to collect the MAME ROM sets, and we need the MAME DAT to get going. So we're going to set up in our dat root. What I'd like to do is, it's an arcade game system, and it's MAME system we're collecting, and we want to collect the ROMs. So I'm going to make ROMs in there, and that's where we're going to put the dat. So I'm grabbing it from here. This is just my zip file that I downloaded from my website, and I'm going to put that in there. Now we did that root arcade MAME ROMs. That's a good directory structure for us to start using our ROM collection in. So let's go back to the application itself, and we can run RomVault. And now if we update DATs, it found that DAT and it's reading in all the ROMs from there. And now you can see here's our structure again. We have arcade MAME ROMs, and it's telling us that there are 86,000 ROMs in this current MAME set, and that's version 0.142 of MAME. And so the very first thing if we hit scan ROMs, obviously we don't have any ROMs yet, so that changed the color to red. The dark blue we had there was the unscanned color, and the red is the missing. Now if we just click on ROMs, it's populating our ROM list here. So here's all the ROMs, they're all in red because we don't have anything. And if we click on individual ROM collections, zip files, it lists the individual files that should be in each of those zipped ROM files. So we have some ROMs that we want to sort. So how do we start pulling these into RomVault? So I'm just going to pull up another window here. So I have this main collection of ROMs here. It's just some collection of ROMs. I don't know where it came from, what version it was from, and I want to start sorting them out with RomVault. So if you have a big collection like this, you know these are all MAME ROMs. You know you're in pretty good shape. So you could, and this is kind of something you really should only do once when you're setting up a new DAT, you can go in and you can set up the exact same directory structure by hand in your ROM directory. So arcade, MAME, and you have to make sure this is exactly matching what we did, ROMs. So let's actually just check. We have ROM root, arcade, main ROMs, and I'm just going to copy a few of these ROMs in there that I'm pretty sure are main ROMs. So I just picked 151 of them, copy them. I'm actually going to copy them over here. And you could copy your entire ROM set of MAME ROMs into this directory. This is one way to use it if you have a lot of ROMs you know are pretty much the correct set. You don't have to do it this way. I'm going to show you another way in a second, but this is just one way of doing it. So here's all these ROMs. So now let's get RomVault back. And if we hit scan ROMs again, it actually found those ROMs. It now says we have 1,425 ROMs, and you can see that some of them have started turning up green here. So the green ones are the ones that are complete correct sets. The red ones are ones that are still missing, and there's some here that are kind of a light blue color. And what it's telling us there, okay, here's a good example. There's 12 ROMs in that zip file, that 1941 zip file that RomVault doesn't know about, that shouldn't be in there. There's 13 that are missing, and there's 5 that are correct. The grey one at the bottom is MAME ROM sets have the concept of merged ROMs, as in this ROM's actually a bad ROM that it hasn't been dumped yet, so it has a 0 CRC32 report. So that's a ROM we can't collect yet because it's known that it exists, but we don't have a good copy of it. So it's listed as 0, so it's grayed out. Let's look at the one above it here. There's 17 ROMs that are actually in the parent set. So what am I looking at here? This is 18-wheeler R, and these would be the ROMs in the Naomi BIOS set. That would be 17 ROMs, and we can view those by clicking Show Merge ROMs. So here's a whole bunch of grey files, which we don't need in this set, but that's just kind of how MAME works. Anyway, I'm getting off the point. Let's get back to this. So, as I said, that's one way of getting those in there. I'm going to show you another way, which may be a little bit simpler. Let's go back to our ROM root, and I'm going to actually just delete everything back out of my ROM root. So here we are. Here we have our ROM root, which is back empty again. If I scan ROMs, we're back to having nothing again. Okay, so now let's look at our toSort directory. Let's grab the same set of ROMs and we're going to drop them into here, into our toSort. And it's copying those in. Okay, so now let's go back to RomVault and do scan ROMs. Okay, so now in our to sort, there's all those ROMs we dropped in. Now they're this magenta color, which means that they're just in to sort. It doesn't know what they are yet. If we hit find fixes, it's looking at all of these now, and it's found that a bunch of these are actually needed in that MAME set. So if we click up on the MAME ROM set now, you can see all these yellow ones. The yellow ones means we found a ROM that could fix this ROM. We haven't actually fixed it yet, but there is a ROM that we now know of in that to sort directory that could fix these missing ROMs. And so now to actually fix the ROMs and move them, we hit fix ROMs. And this will take a little while it's actually moving all of those ROMs from our to sort directory into the correct MAME directory. So they're moving from to sort here. It's now making it made for us the arcade, the MAME, the ROMs, and now those ROMs arriving in here. Okay, it's done. So let's close that. And let's see what it did. So now we have a whole lot of correct ROMs in our main ROM directory. We obviously also still have a lot of missing ROMs because we only copied a few of them over there. And if we look in to sort now, these 3 files got left behind, or 3 zips got left behind in our to sort. Let's look in to sort here. Just going to lose that. RomVault to sort. These 3 files we put in there, but these files aren't in that main ROM directory. They were not found in there. This is a main ROM set from an older set, and these 3 files weren't used in there. So they're just leftover files there. If we didn't care, we could delete them. And in our ROM root arcade MAME ROMs, there is a whole lot of fixed correct files. When I say correct, that means that everything in here is needed in the right place in MAME. That doesn't mean the sets are complete. We may have some ROMs where, see here, it found some of the ROMs and put them into that 1941J set, but we're still missing a lot of them, but it put in there the ones that it could put in there. So what I'm going to do now, this is my old MAME set that I got from somewhere. I just downloaded it from a website or wherever it was we got them from, and we don't know that it's a good full set. We don't know what status it's in. I'm actually going to just take all of these and I'm going to copy all of these into my to sort directory. And this is going to take a while because we're going to copy 23 gig of files here. So I'm going to let this go and I'm going to stop the video, and I'm going to be back in a little while when this file copy has finished. Okay, so we're back and that copy finished, and so now in my to sort directory I have 8,617 files that I just copied in there. I went out and downloaded a bunch of MAME ROMs from a website, and now I have all of these ROMs, and I don't really know what they all are because I just downloaded them from some random website. I don't know what version they are, but it's just a bunch of ROMs I need to get sorted. So first up, we have to rescan our ROMs because we know our ROMs changed. So here it goes. It is rescanning our to sort directory, and it's finding those 8,000 zip files. So this will just take a little moment. I'm going to pause the video until this is finished. Okay, so we're just coming to the end of our scan ROMs here. It's just about to finish the last few. Okay, and there it goes. So now if we look in our to sort directory, you can see it found all of these ROMs. As yet, it doesn't know what they all are. It just found them all, and just as like catalogued them all. So now we're going to hit our find fixes. This is going to compare all those ROMs in to sort with our main ROM DAP. So now if we look at our to sort, okay, the brown ones here are ones that we did already copy into our main ROM directory, so we actually have a duplicate copy of them in to sort. So brown means that it's going to delete these files out because it already has them correctly in the correct place. And then as we go down, we can see that there's all these orange ones which it says it wants to copy over into the zip in the right place. So these orange ones it knows it needs. And if there's any other colors in here, this one here, it still doesn't know what this file is. It's just going to leave it in to sort. It didn't find this file needed in the main ROM DAT. So now we actually look at the main ROM DAT files themselves. Okay, so we've got those green ones that we had earlier. And we look at this file here, it actually has found this one missing one and can fix that one missing one there. Let's see what else it can do. Let's look further down. All these yellow ones are the ones it found that it knows it can fix. It hasn't done the fix yet, it's just reporting to us that if we hit the fix ROMs button, all these yellow files will turn green. And there's still some red ones that it couldn't find, so we didn't have a complete set that we downloaded from our website. We're just doing pretty good getting closer. So now you just hit fix ROMs, and this is going to do every file change that we talked about on every single file. Okay, again, this is going to take a long time. It's got to copy every single one of those files into the right place. So again, I'm going to pause the video and we'll come back when this step here has finished. Okay, so we just finished doing our fix ROMs, got all the way through. Let's close this and see where we get to. Okay, so we're still missing some. We didn't have a complete set of ROMs to rebuild this main ROM set from. But if we take a look through, we can see there's a lot of green files there. All of those should be good main ROM sets now. And if we wanted to start trying to figure out what we had and what we don't have, we could hide all the correct ROM files. So this is just now a list of what we're missing. And we should go out to our website and try and find these ROMs and get our collection complete. Over into sort, let's hit the show correct, I don't think that matters. These are the ROMs that we had that it didn't find in that main ROM set. So these are just kind of leftover files. We don't really know what to do with them. Now if we did go back to our websites and download some of these missing files, we can again repeat the process. Just get those files, drop them into to sort. They can be here with these other files that didn't know what they are. They can just stay there. So you get some more files, you're going to hit your scan ROMs again, you're going to find fixes, and you're going to fix ROMs. And if it did find some new files, then it would fix the files that you had and take them out of to sort and put them into main ROMs. So that's just one DAT that we fixed. That's all well and good. The thing that where RomVault really comes in to play is that it'll handle multiple DATs at the same time. So let's say, we like MAME, we're into the arcade. We also want to collect the RAIN emulator sets. So I'm going to go into my arcade collection. In my DAT dat root directory arcade, and I'm going to add rain, and I'm going to add ROMs. Yeah, ROMs. And in there I'm going to drop my rain dat. Here's a dat I downloaded for rain from the website. Okay, so now we have to go right back up to the top again, update dats, because we changed the dat directory. So now we have the main ROMs and we have the rain ROMs. And this is, the rain's still blue because we haven't scanned those yet, so we're going to have to scan ROMs. Now that completely rescanned the entire main directory and the rain directory and the two sort in that period of time. If you're doing a second time scan through, it does do it very, very fast. So if we look in the rain ROMs, we don't have any rain ROMs. Now, most of the rain ROMs are in the MAME set. So if we now just do find fixes, here we go, we're in rain ROMs, and as you can see, almost all of them are yellow. There's one file there that wasn't. There's a few files that are red. All these yellow ones are coming straight out of the MAME ROM set, saying that we can build the rain ROM set largely from the MAME ROM set. And if we hit fix ROMs now, that's exactly what it's going to do. It's going to rebuild our rain set from our MAME set. So let's actually watch this happen. We're going to go to ROMs, arcade, and currently we just have the MAME directory. We're going to hit fix ROMs now. Okay, so it's now RomVault has made the rain directory. It's made the ROMs directory, and now it's starting to just put all the rain ROMs correctly set up in the rain directory. And you can see it's moving along pretty fast here. So I will just pause the video here and we'll wait for this to finish. Okay, so we're just finishing up our fix ROM to our rain ROM set. And there it is, we're done. So we can see here we have all sorts of nice green sets now that are full complete rain sets. Now as we look at this now, if we turn off show correct, there are a few rain ROMs there that are not in our current MAME set, and so those are still missing. So if we were wanting to get a complete rain set, we would have to go out and find online these zip files, and we just drop them into our to sort. Go down the list again, scan the ROMs, we'll find them in to sort. Find fixes will show us which ones we have, and fix ROMs will then hopefully fix our rain set. So we still all have these ROMs sitting in here in to sort that it doesn't know what they are, but that's fine. They may come up at some point that maybe they're newer ROMs that we haven't used in a new ROM set yet. So there is another DAT called the MAME rollback ROMs. This is a DAT that contains a list of ROMs that have been removed from MAME. And so maybe that's what all these files are. So I've gone out and I've downloaded the newest rollback set. So I'm back in my DAT directory again, and I'm going to add the next DAT, and I'm just going to call it rollback. And I'm going to put into there this MAME rollback DAT. And this is actually for version 0.144 of MAME. So we're going to update DATs because we changed our DATs. Okay, so there it is. We need to scan ROMs. Obviously there's nothing in there yet, they're all red. We're going to find fixes. And let's look what happened to our to sort. And actually all of these ROMs, because that was an old MAME set I had, all of these ROMs are actually now in that rollback set. So if we hit fix ROMs, this shouldn't take too long. it is copying. If we look in our to sort now, we should see that all our ROMs are steadily disappearing. And moving over to our ROM root, arcade main rollback directory. So we're at 32 files, 33 files, it's copying them over. So I'll just pause a minute here until this completes. Okay, so that completed. So we now have 85 files here in our main rollback directory. And if we actually look in our to sort directory, everything's gone. All those ROMs we actually found a home for. So that's kind of nice. So to sort here is now empty, and we just put 306 ROMs into that rollback dat. And if we show correct and hide the show missing, here's all the ROMs we just put into our rollback. So there's one more thing I wanted to show you, and that is what happens when a new MAME comes out. So you can see we're currently using the MAME ROM set from version 1.4.2, and right now version 1.4.4 is actually the version that is out there. So we've gone out and we've downloaded the 1.4.4 dat set. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the dat root, arcade MAME ROMs. There's our 1.4.2 set, and we're going to replace it with the 1.4.4 set. So I'm going to delete that dat, and I'm going to copy this into here. Now, one thing to note is you should really only ever have one dat per directory here so the system works correctly. So we copied the newest dat into that directory, and we're going to go down the process again. Update the dats, see it's reading in that 1.4.4 version, and it's gone blue there because we haven't scanned for it yet. So we're going to scan our current MAME ROM set, comparing it now to this new dat. And this step, you can see it has to go through those 7,000 or 8,000 zip files, 8,000 zip files, comparing them now to the new dat to see what state we're in. So I'm just going to pause for a couple of minutes here while it does that. Okay, we're just finishing up the scan ROMs from our new MAME ROM dat, and it should jump through the rest pretty quick given that those haven't changed. Okay, there it goes. So right now, it's just taking a moment here to update the user interface. There it goes. So this is now the new dat. Now there's some files in here that it doesn't know because the set changed. So we still should now run our find fixes and then our fix ROMs. And now what it's doing is it's fixing our MAME ROM set to match the new dat. A lot of the files here, if we actually look at what's going on here, we can see this. It's doing a lot of renaming. It's copying things. This is where it's copying them from. This is where it's copying them to. So there's a lot of stuff being moved from one MAME zip to another MAME ROM zip. It's just a lot of renaming going on that happens from one MAME release to another. So I'll just pause this and let this finish. Okay, so that fix ROMs on our new dat set just completed. And there we go. So now shows us what we have in our 1.4.4 set. And so now what we're going to do is go and try and find the missing ones. There are some websites that do put out update sets where they just will put out the ROMs have changed from one MAME release to the next. If you download just those ROMs, you can drop those into your to sort directory and then hit scan ROMs to find them, find fixes and fix ROMs, and then it'll just copy those missing ROMs into your main ROM set, and hopefully you can build up a complete set. Remember, if you can click untick show correct ROMs, and that will, when it updates here, I clicked on it a couple of times. There we go. This will just show you the ROMs that you are missing, so you can be searching for those. And that, I hope, gives you a good idea of how to get going. Now, we just did 3 ROM sets here. If we go back to my website, the initial full directory setup has a whole bunch more ROM sets in it, all laid out. You can just extract this to a directory, run RomVault, and you'll see a bigger directory structure of different DATs that will give you more of an idea of how to set up more DAT sets. The 2sec DAT collection, this is just a zip file. You can extract that zip file as it is right into your DAT root directory, and that contains over 1,000 DAT files for the 2sec sets, and RomVault will happily handle those 1,000 DATs. It's not going to give you that much of a performance slowdown running with that many DATs. That's where RomVault really earns its keep, is you can really have a very large number of DATs being maintained at the same time. So I hope that helps. I hope that gets you going. You can leave me any feedback on this video on my website at www.romvault.com. Okay, bye bye.